Hi, everyone. Welcome to the You-est You podcast. I'm Julie, and I am here with two beautiful, phenomenal women whom I know you're going to fall in love with. I am so excited to introduce you to Britt and Tara, who are the co-founders of Elevate the Globe. They're high vibrational living experts, they're kundalini yoga and meditation instructors, and they're channelers of the light based in LA. They are the hosts of the Elevator podcast, creator of Rise Up, a course in high vibrational living, and the 528 Academy. They're speakers, they're bloggers, and they're currently writing their first book, which is awesome. They have dedicated their lives to teaching people to raise the vibration of their energy and have created a collective movement that is elevating the globe. We'll have takeaways and show notes afterwards, but I want you to be able to find these big-hearted change makers, and you can find them at elevatetheglobe.com or on Instagram at elevatetheglobe. It is such a pleasure to have you guys here today. Welcome, Tara and Britt.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
Yay. You guys, I just want to tell everyone who's listening. So we met recently. We were all at Soul Camp in California. And right away, I was just so drawn to your energy, to your light, to just, you clearly are living what you're teaching. And I remember thinking there were so many amazing courses to take. And I was like, I am definitely going to get my butt to at least one of your sessions, and it ended up being one of my most favorite sessions. I kind of went in between my teaching and I was like, I've got to do this. And it was really powerful. In fact, I almost brought Sage with me today before we started because I know we started. So welcome. I'm so happy to have you guys here today.
Thank you. Yeah, we are so happy to be here on your podcast, and it was so wonderful meeting you and just, connecting. And I feel like we kind of had all at the end of our class felt like we knew you somehow from another time and space. So it's wonderful to actually be, creating something together here right now.
Absolutely. I'm glad I felt the same thing. So it's one of those, like, when you start dating, you're like, I hope the person feels the same way I do. Like, I don't know, but not that we're, I'm like, it's so funny with becoming friendly with people. I'm like, no, I just know this. Like we've done some shit together, excuse my language, but we have. So you guys are really, I love your whole concept around elevating the globe. What I'd like to do is just start for listeners to get to know you. I talk about the You-est You, which it's really about living into that divinity, that potential that's just sacred and individual to each person. And maybe just talk a little bit about each of your You-est You and how you guys came together to create this.
Sure. Do you want me to start? Sure. Okay, great. Yeah, so it was definitely through a journey getting to this point, of course. And, it really started when I was younger, going through my parents' divorce. I really found peace and healing through reading the teenage, what is that book?
The Chicken Soup book?
Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul. And so that was kind of my soul's first connection consciously, really, to spirituality and healing. And from there, I got really interested in manifesting. And I started going down that path, learning how to manifest, and got really into it in college. But I also got really into drinking and drugs and partying, and kind of was veering off down that path as well. And that continued after college. I moved to LA and was just working and climbing up the corporate ladder and, partying at night and on the weekends, and was just really finding myself unfulfilled at the end of the day. So it was through a breakup with my now husband, actually, that, that kind of guided me to what I thought was a vinyasa flow class and ended up being a kundalini yoga class. And it was in that class that I had an extremely emotional experience. I just felt my truth. I felt my You-est You. You know, I felt myself for the first time in a while. And so I just almost unconsciously kept going back to that class, started finding my path again with myself and my spirituality, and then just wanted to share it with others as I was transforming and growing. So I started to do more with Kundalini. I went on a Kundalini retreat in Costa Rica. And then I did the 9-month teacher training program and started teaching yoga and sharing, you know, everything I was doing. And of course, you know, as you get on any of these paths, you start to attract higher vibrational things. And so the nutrition and, you know, the people I was hanging around and my current relationships, everything just started changing and elevating for the better. And so yeah, my mom, I ended up getting married. My mom got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer 2 weeks after our wedding. She was 55. And so I was going through her sickness and seeing what that looked like and being with her and feeling everything that comes along with seeing, you know, somebody so close to you being in that position. And then she ended up passing away 11 months later. And yeah, I was like starting the company that, you know, is what it is today, Elevate the Globe. But it was after that moment that I really, truly knew my purpose and my path was, you know, not to do my ad sales job that I had been doing and not be putting time and energy into anything other than things that I really, you know, truly believed in and were helping not only myself, but the greater good. And so yeah, then Tara and I really came together and went on this entire journey that we've been on the past two and a half years now to create Elevate the Globe.
Wow. I'm taking notes. There's so much you just said we're going to come back to, but thank you for sharing. And I can only imagine the ups and downs. Sounds like a lot of things that like going to the wrong yoga class that ended up shifting your life to, you know, watching the process of life and someone you love, your person you probably love the most, going through that. And I'm sure I always think that those experiences when we're awake can just make us so much more, have more depth and understanding and compassion for humans. And you exude that. And that's an amazing journey. How about, so you guys knew each other in high school? No, you grew up together, right?
Yeah. So we've known each other since we were 12.
Oh my gosh. And how about you, Tara? Do you want to share a little bit about?
Yeah. So we've been friends for our whole lives, it feels like. It's almost like a sisterly relationship in a way. So yeah, Britt and I met in ballet class. We were 12. And
That's awesome.
I know, and kind of slowly like became really close. And my mom likes to tell me, she's like, in high school, like you guys like had other friends, but like you guys were like super like you couldn't separate and you didn't want to, and you kind of left other people out. And I was like, I don't remember that. but she does. And anyway, so we went separate ways in college, and I had always been really, really drawn to astrology and numerology. I got my first numerology book given to me at 15 as a present from one of my guy friends. And I was like, wow, I must have really been talking about it and thinking about it then, you know? So it's always been and it still is today, sort of the way I make sense of the world. I literally even categorize people on a timeline that I meet by their birthday. Like I can remember people's exact birthdays. It's just something I love to do. So anyway, I always really drawn to that as a kid. And in high school, Britt and I were friends, and we went separate ways for college. And we were actually working together in high school. We were like the president and vice president of our senior dance production with like 100 people, and choreographed all these dances and organized the whole thing. And it was fun. So we were working together for a while, and so separate ways in college, and came back together. Even you know, she would come to visit me every city I moved, because after college I moved across the country a couple of times, and she'd always come visit me like once, you know, because I moved every couple of years, and there would be like a visit. And when Britt's mom passed away, I had been really at that time ready to come back to LA. I was in San Francisco, and I remember kind of seeing a psychic, and I was learning how to listen to my intuition, and there was some crazy things that kind of happened to me to really get me to really listen. But what happened was, at the time, I was really feeling the energy, like in my body, like where energy was kind of hitting my body and what that meant. And I was really working with myself and developing the gift. And I remember Britt called me, her mom had passed away, and her mom came to me that same weekend. It was like a holiday weekend, wasn't it? Memorial Day? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And her mom in spirit form came to me and said, you have to go home now. It's time to go home. You need to go be with your mom, and you need to go be with Britt. Mm-hmm. And, Britt and I were like close, but not like we weren't talking every day. We weren't talking every month even, we were always just like seeing each other at holidays. And I was like, that's kind of weird, but you know what? Like, Jennifer's like a second mom to me. Like, yeah, I'm going to go. Like, she told me to go. So like, I'm going to go. And I was doing a lot of kundalini yoga at the time because Britt introduced it to me. And I was doing it at this little place in San Francisco in the Haight. It was the only place I could find it, at an ashram. And every Sunday it was like a ritual. So I decided to move down to LA, and then Britt and I really started to do a lot of kundalini together. And about a year later, she has her daughter, and her daughter's about 5 months old, and decides to ask me to go to John of God. And John of God is a healer from Brazil. And he was here in New York, and he comes once a year usually to New York. And she felt really like that we needed to go, or she needed to go. And she felt like she wanted to ask me. And at this time, I was like, well, I could make up 100 excuses why not to go. But I'm like, we haven't spent that much time together because she was then pregnant and we've been kind of busy. So this will be fun. I should just go and do it. And we get there, and Britt's like sitting there the night before we go see John of God. And she's like, Tara, I think our whole life is going to change tomorrow. And I'm looking at her like, Britt. It's like, oh, yes, it's good. Everything's, she's just so positive and optimistic. And I'm just like, okay, Britt, you need to like lower your expectations a little. Like, and she was like, you need to raise your expectation. And I remember we were just kind of like, all right. I was like, okay, whatever. I don't know what's going on here. And I was like, this will be fun. And so it was a wonderful day, and I felt a lot of energy. But that night we had an amazing download in our cabin. And it really pulled together what Britt had been feeling over the last year and what I had been feeling and seeing in visions. And we both had been seeing in visions. And it all sort of puzzle pieced together. And it made sense. And it was through the angelic realm. The angelic realm was showed up. And basically I could see like 6 or 7, it was actually 6 entities, angels, energy. And they were delivering us messages on what we needed to do to move forward, and that was working together. And it was not something we'd ever discussed or even thought about before. And then it was born. This was born, and this is what we've been doing, and every single thing that they've shown us has happened or is in the works of happening and manifesting right in front of our eyes. So it's pretty wild.
It's wild.
And her mom came through in that same vision, came through and said, I've been trying to deliver this message, but you're not listening to me.
But that's how I was guided to John of God, because people were telling me about him because of my mom getting cancer. They were, people just started telling me, you should look into this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was always really guided through my mom.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys, I have so many questions. I'm trying to figure out which one to go with first.
I know.
Okay. I'm like, well, let me ask you this. So when you went to John of God, the downloads, and for those like tuning in, because sometimes I've had some people on here that have gotten really deep into other realms, and everyone's in a different place in their life. But I think just to explain that, we talk in my language. It's one of my favorite topics. For those that are maybe newer to it, the ideas are all energy, and that we can access different kinds of energy. And I know you're going to talk about this around high frequency and vibration. So I just wanted to say that for those listening that are like, what does she mean? Did you get that download, that feeling, that vision after John of God? Is that when that happened?
It was that night, and I'll just preface, there was no alcohol involved, no drugs. I had had a Sprite or something when I was drinking soda.
And Sprite doesn't usually, Sprite's great, but that doesn't bring on angelic.
People are always like, there were no drugs involved.
Right.
Just energy.
Right.
And at this point, we'd both been doing so much kundalini that we were, I think John of God, so he's a medium, right? So he's not like, he's channeling in energy. He's channeling in more energy into your system. So the more energy we have in our systems, the higher vibrational frequencies we can run through our bodies. And the clearer our bodies are, the longer we can sustain that connection. So I had been doing so much yoga, and Britt had as well for years, to where we were actually aligned at this place where we could receive this message because we had a high enough frequency. But I had to sit in front of John of God's current. He sort of removes his own soul, and it's something else that comes through him.
Yes.
He says that it's not him at all, and he's been doing this since he was young. Over 2,000 people come to see him every day in Brazil, and he's really miraculous as far as the healings he's been able to channel through.
And so I had to sit in front of his energy current, and I felt so much buzzing all around me, and I just kind of knew something was going on, but I didn't know what it was. And I was like, this is a great experience. Let's just see what happens. They say that for 40 days, energy stays with you, like an entity or like an energy source stays with you to help you with whatever it is that you asked. And I asked before I went in, please show me my highest path on this planet and illuminate the way forward and the way to do it, And I had been asking for this for a while, but I didn't know what it was. And I was really hungry for it. I just knew there was something bigger and more. So I just decided to ask, and that's what they were showing me. And so what this energy was doing was basically, I was soaking up more energy. He almost energy transferred to me, enough energy, enough frequency in my body for me to elevate high enough on the emotional vibrational scale to then be able to feel the angelic realm and see the angelic realm that lives at a higher frequency, because they're higher frequency beings. So all of a sudden, just drop. There's a whole thing, but all of a sudden, this dome just drops over us as we're sitting in the room together. And I'd been feeling like something's in this house. I couldn't figure out what it was.
We were saging everything. We were like, "Is this something bad or good or what's happening?" There was just really a lot going on.
Wow.
It's laughing at me because she's like, "What's wrong? Do you not want to go in the other room?" I'm like, "There's something in there." And she's
wow.
And
then her face was looking down the hallway like she saw a ghost, which is a saying that comes from what that actually looks like and feels like, because that's what her face looked like. And I was like, just relax. Let's just invite them in, make them feel comfortable.
No, she goes, just relax, invite them in. Just invite them in. And I'm like, okay.
Be gracious to the angels. Come on.
And I'm like, oh my God, okay. And then one of them, I could see it was a swirling energy. And I saw 3 different colors. And then a purple being, literally could see it, came up behind me and held its hands on my back, and my heart chakra opened. And all this dome then opened. And it was I could see, then I started speaking. And there were 6 entities there. And I was like, why are there 6 of you? We're only supposed to get 1 entity a person. And I was like, there's 6 of them, Britt. And I was like, there's 3 for you and 3 for me. And I was like, is there a reason there's 3? Is do you have a lot of work to do on us? And they're like, no, you guys have a lot of work to do. So there's 3 of us each. And one of them was over Britt. And I was like, is your stomach hurting, Britt? What's going on with your stomach? She's like, it's actually been hurting all day.
That's where I felt so much energy, when I was actually in the place that we were seeing John of God. So
wow.
Yeah, and I was like the angel. It was an angel. It was digging or whatever I would call an angel, because that's just what I don't know what it was. It was energy.
Spirit guide or angel. Yeah.
Anything, and it was digging through her stomach and like laughing, like, this girl's got a lot of stuff in her stomach. She's got to get this out of here. A lot of energy.
Wow.
And so yeah, she was getting purged, and she was like, my stomach really hurts.
Yeah. So there was just like so much healing. So much healing taking place. And then my mom came down and delivered messages, and you know, it was just really this experience that can only be described as if like you were in a movie or something, you know? So there was like different interactions happening, and after we wrote it all down on our computers, it was a
miracle, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the way to explain, like, and I don't know how you totally felt, because I don't know if we ever talked about this, like, together, but I felt like every cell in my whole body was lit up green. It was like every cell was like, there was no doubt. There was not, like, I just could not say no to it. There was nothing in my body that was like, that's not correct. Every single cell in the body was like lit up green. And I remember walking to take a bath, and I was like, my whole life just changed in 1 hour. And I was like, oh my God, there it is. It was a miracle, honestly. What did it feel like for you? Yeah,
I feel like I felt the same way. There was no questioning anything.
Yeah.
At all. And yeah, we're so grateful, and just felt that there was a complete shift energetically. And then we're just so confident in how we were supposed to move forward, and have just taken those, you know, inspired actions from the very next morning.
We sat down.
Yeah, the very next morning we sat down and we planned everything that they told us, and I gave Tara like all the passwords to all the website and everything, and we wrote down
she'd already created something. She created High Vibe Living.
Yeah.
And
I'd already been sharing on Instagram and everything, and was just teaching a lot. And yeah, we wrote down our mission statement. We just started, you know, coming together and creating everything.
It was like immediate. Like,
we
got to write this down. We're never like, this is going to be in a book one day. And it was wild, honestly.
Wow. Wow, you guys, that is so, so beyond powerful. What were some of the visions that you saw that have been happening, and what did you, if you're comfortable sharing?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, one of them was definitely about the book. That was definitely a big part of it. And we actually just submitted our book proposal to a publisher that reached out to us last night was our deadline. And so we sent that in.
Gosh, I love it.
And then, yeah, everything, so many visions that we saw that night and that continue to come to us over those next 40 days and beyond, just start to show up. Like, some of them are really interesting and we don't understand them at the time, like the cruise ship.
So there was a cruise ship thing, which was weird. So basically what I was seeing was like, they were showing me visions. It was like vision, like pictures, and they would show one after another. And one of them was there was a redwoods, and then we figured out what that was. That was about writing the book. And then another one was about this cruise ship, and I kept seeing it from New York to like, it didn't go all the way to Europe, but it just went midway. And I was like, is it Iceland that it goes to? And it was like green lights, like Iceland. But it was a cruise ship. And I was like, well, a cruise ship? What is that? And even yesterday, something about an Icelandic cruise ship came to me through my neighbor.
Oh my gosh.
That's starting to manifest. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but
her neighbor works with a magazine, Afar magazine, and does all of these cruise ships adventures. And we had nothing, Tara didn't know anything about it, but she started to tell Tara that she wanted to pitch us for these wellness spiritual cruises that were going to Iceland that were like coming up in the future. And we're like, oh my God, because, you know, so many things were so there's just like continue to be delivered over the last 2 years or however long it's been now. So it's just so exciting to kind of see how it all continues to unfold, you know?
So wild. Oh my God. I want to go on that Icelandic cruise ship with you guys. We'll hang out. I'm like, I didn't get that download yet, but I'm just sitting here like, yes. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Stuff about like speaking, a lot of speaking events and engagements, and that has started to really happen for us. And it was basically like the gist was, Tara, you haven't been thinking big enough at all. And Britt, I couldn't get this message to you because you weren't listening to me, her mom.
Wow.
Like, and it was like, you guys planned this from the beginning before you even came down here. Like, this has been the plan all along. This is each other. This is, and then they also told me that Everest, Britt's daughter at 6 months old, was the one who brought us to John of God. She guided us there.
Oh my gosh.
Somehow, like her soul did.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting.
Wow.
I relive it a little bit, and I'm like, I haven't had something totally like that since. I'm like, I'd love to experience it again, but I know.
Yeah, just ask your guides. They'll come back. Maybe there'll be more than 6, maybe less now. Maybe it'll be 2.
Right?
They'll be like, you girls are listening. We're down to 2 now.
It's like they're always listening. It's just the amount of energy you have in the body if you're able to see it or not.
Yes. Can we I want to talk about that. This is both personal for myself because I'm always managing, working on my own vibration energy. And for those, like there's a lot of people listening who know a little bit about vibration, how to raise their vibe, and some that might be like, I really have no idea what you're talking about other than like good vibes only, hashtag or something like that. So, you know, what that means. I know it's a big subject. I would love to hear, because I know, Britt, you had you said the raise your, or the high vibe living beforehand. What do you guys, how do you teach about, like, how do you teach to raise your vibration? What can you teach about that or share about that? So maybe just share a little bit about how to raise your vibe, what you mean by that. Anything and everything you can share that gives some takeaways to our fabulous listeners and for me.
Definitely. Yeah. So like we've been talking about, you know, it really just is all about energy. And to kind of start at the beginning, Einstein really was at the forefront of proving through science that, you know, E equals MC squared was basically the formula that we've all learned probably in grade school. And, you know, what it really proved was that it's like 99.999% of everything is energy. And so beyond that, there's a law of vibration, and every molecule of energy, whether it be in our bodies, in the table, in any physical matter of form, is all vibrating at certain frequencies. And so for us humans, our emotions are measured in hertz, and that explains, you know, how we feel and what vibratory frequency we're experiencing. So we love to use the emotional scale. Have you used the emotional scale or seen it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm shaking my head for those. I have this video too. Yes. In fact, I wanted to ask you about the 528 because I had learned all about that. I want to hear you explain it, but I saw that and I zoomed in. I'm like, we got to talk about that too. So keep going. Yeah, no, I live by this.
There's a cool story about that too. But yeah, so anyways, so it's basically all of our human emotions that we all experience here living on the earth, and they're all measured. So, you know, at the bottom, you have the lower emotions. 0 is death. There's no more life force energy. Then, you know, it goes up. There's depression and grief and, all of the lower vibration emotions. It starts to go up. Then, you know, you see anger, and then in the middle is boredom and contentment.
And then like optimism.
Yeah, then it starts to go up. Optimism, hope, and then you start to see, you know, the joy and the freedom and the enlightenment and all of the other ones in between. And so this scale works like a spiral because energy spirals. So if you're above the middle point, you're spiraling upwards. And then if you're below, you're spiraling downwards. So, the way that we really use it is through our consciousness and our raised awareness that we really personally get from the kundalini yoga and the meditation, which is kundalini is the yoga of awareness. So from having, this awareness, we're able to be really mindful and conscious about what emotions we're feeling. And then look at, what needs to happen for us to heal through it, really feel what we're feeling, not ignore it at all, find what we need to heal and use the time that we need, whether it's a minute or a month, to do what needs to happen to heal and then move up the emotional scale. And so we really don't want to be sitting, in any one emotion for too long without any action to move upwards. And so we really just use it as a guide, as a tool to feel better and be able to hold more energy in our bodies because, when we're talking about the energy, the higher frequencies and the higher emotions have a lot more energy. So like you were mentioning, love is 528 hertz. So that's a lot more energy than, a depression or a anger. And so we constantly have daily practices like the breath work and the mantra, the meditation and the yoga and, so many other practices that we use to really be able to hold higher frequencies of energy. Because, a lot of times if you don't have energy in our bodies, you might feel spurts of the higher emotions from things either outside of yourself or for kind of like fleeting moments of it. And then you'll find yourself back down because your body and your mind just doesn't have the amount of energy needed to sustainably feel that emotion.
Yeah. And what's beautiful about the scale is that it makes it it's like a roadmap, right? You're like, okay, well, so if you, like, for example, if you tell somebody who's really angry to just get over it and feel love and joy, they're like, F you. I literally can't do that right now because that requires so much more energy to run through my body and I don't have it available to me right now. And so that's why a lot of times like people get defensive because they're like, when you just can't bridge that gap so quickly, right? So you can, if you have the right tools and the knowledge, right, and about how to do that. Yeah. But until you do that, it's like just knowing that, okay, well, I'm angry. Well, let me try to go reach for something like acceptance or even boredom or contentment. That has more energy in it than where I was. And so I don't have to go from 0 to 60 right away. I can just keep every moment or every day moving and reaching for the next higher emotion and try to move up the scale. And so the point is, like Britt mentioned, to keep moving. But it makes it feel nice where you're like, I don't have to skip 10 rungs right away until I'm ready. As you get more energy and you're more expansive and you have the ability to hold the energy, if you slip down, you can slip back up really fast. But, it takes practice and it takes mindset control and mindset training. And there's so much, but it's nice because it's a GPS system. Yeah. It's a roadmap. Like, all right, I'm feeling joy today. I want to reach for freedom tomorrow, Yeah.
And then that's really where the law of attraction and all the manifesting comes in, because you really start to, of course, we're always attracting, depending on our vibration, how we're feeling. And so, you really are able to start to really be in co-creation with the universe and attract specifically what you want in a much easier way. And so then you really start to just be able to get in that flow state and really live your purpose and do what you're meant to do here. And that's when it really gets, really, really cool, really exciting, and a lot less fear, a lot more trust.
Fantastic. So a couple things, because I can sometimes hear people in my head. I'm like, okay, the question might be, so because what do you do? Let me ask it this way. One, what do you do to keep your vibration, to keep your energy as high as possible, to manage your own vibration? And how do you handle the emotions that might be the ones we want to avoid? Although I love what you said, I'm so with you, never to avoid them. They're here to tell us something, and to give them space. So curious how you, because we're human, and I'm sure you have disappointment, fear, I'm sure these things, sadness, I'm sure, maybe boredom. I wish I was more bored, actually. That's not one of mine, but I have others. I could use some boredom. Yeah, but so like, what do you do to manage your vibration? Tips that others can do? And then how do you deal with those emotions that are kind of on the, maybe the 100 and lower energy megahertz, whatever they come out to?
Yeah, so we both really utilize a morning practice, a daily morning practice.
Yeah.
It's sort of non-negotiable on our end, because what happens is you're literally giving yourself a chance every day to realign with the highest frequency, the highest emotion, the highest state of your own consciousness available to you every day. So you're literally giving a gift to yourself in the mornings to set up your day in the way that you want it to go, and you're not letting your emotions run you all day long. You're not letting some fearful thought that came into your mind in the morning that you didn't readjust and realign, create the rest of your day for you and take you on the wrong road that you didn't want to go down. And now it takes a little bit longer to get back from that because you caught it, 3 miles down the road. It's like every morning you're kind of like course correcting, and you're never really veering off the course that you want to go, too far. So, and what it does is we're utilizing kundalini yoga in the morning. And so we're really moving our 10 bodies, we're moving our system, we're moving our energy, and we're bringing in the gratitude, we're bringing in the affirmations and the mantras, and we're really bringing in the breath work, which then creates more life force energy. So it gives you the space in the body to be able to hold the higher frequency emotions. So that's kind of what we're kind of doing and what we teach over here.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely one of the most powerful tools, and we can definitely feel a difference. I'm sure you've felt this before. Anyone listening who has a morning practice or takes that time in the morning to center and connect to their truth. If you don't do that, or if you do it later, you notice such a big difference. Yeah. And so that's really what we use. And then, it's really just tools that we have, that we've learned, that Tara mentioned, that we've been talking about, that we always have to come back to. So need it on your lunch break, or if you got some bad news, or somebody's energy rubbed you the wrong way, or something traumatic happened, or, whatever it is, you're just feeling funky for no reason. It's always like, okay, like, what do I need right now? Do I need a nourishing drink, or do I need a certain breath work, a certain meditation? Do I need to listen to something inspirational, or play a certain mantra that has a specific sound frequency to align me in the correct direction? So yeah, it's kind of whenever we need it, all day. And then we love to do bedtime routines and yoga all the time whenever we can. So it's just about using the tools.
Awesome. Something I had learned, I don't know if this is true, but I did a degree in health and wellness coaching, and we were learning about frequency and energy. And I believe that trees and flowers and plants grow at the same 528, which is the frequency of love. And that's something, I just bring that up because for me, I find that being in nature is one of the tools I also use, like what you guys were saying, I'm sure, and where you're located in the California area, it's hard not to be around. I call it like natural love all the time. But I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but I thought that was one of the coolest things I had ever learned, is that our natural world grows. Somehow they measured how the frequency of what it grows at, and it's the same as love, the love frequency.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know.
Yeah.
I haven't actually heard that.
No, me neither.
But I wouldn't put it, it feels right.
Yeah.
I'd love to actually research that myself.
Yeah.
I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the earth is really healing in general, right? Because you think about it, you know, we always talk about how we're all one. Well, the earth is part of that, and we're here on the earth, and we're connected to her.
Yeah.
So, you know, what she feels and is a direct in how she reacts to things. So if you're feeling like nature's beautiful, it's like you're, you know, emanating that. But like if you know, you see a lot of volcanoes and a lot of fires and a lot of destruction happening, it's like, well, she's also angry at sometimes too. And so, you know, that is a direct reflection of us here and what the vibration that we're carrying on the day, connected to her every day. We walk on her, you know, so we're all connected. So I love that. The frequency of the earth is something that we all are part of. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
We're under one electromagnetic field.
I love this conversation.
We all have our own electromagnetic fields, our auras.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I'll say, I don't yet always see them, but I can feel them. And for those listening in, because I hope you've got to check out Britt and Tara. And when your book comes out, I'll definitely share it. It's going to come out. I know I can see it. And you'll hopefully teach these things we're talking about. You guys have such a strong, positive, high frequency, you know, to me, I could feel that immediately, a lot of light. And, you know, I believe we're contagious. You know, we're contagious, our light and how we're being. And right away, I was like, well, you guys are in the right space. This whole elevate the globe idea, this is a good thing for you guys. We need you. The globe needs this. Talk about your vision and, you know, what your goal, or how you envision this making a difference on the planet.
Yeah, so we love to really always start with ourselves. And so that's why it's so important for us to not only practice, but teach the morning ritual and the yoga and the meditation and the mantra to everybody that we can. So we do our courses, and we have a lot of resources where we share that. And then after you start to feel good and have these tools in place, we find that it's natural that you then are shining your light out, and you start to influence your families and your communities and all of the people that you come into contact with just by your light alone, just by your presence alone. And so that starts to happen. And so from there, you know, it's really about how can we give back? And so we're really working to create more space and community around how can we give back, what can we do, and really educating people on, you know, how they can give back and what's happening in the world, and how can we all come together as this group consciousness to elevate our own vibrations and then contribute to the healing of the planet, the healing of other people who don't have food, who don't have shelter, who don't have families, you know, people all over the world, right here in our own backyards, here in every city, you know, don't have the basic needs. And so really using what we can to give back wherever we can. And that's where we really see this whole movement going, is how can we now expand in a much larger way to benefit not only ourselves, but use ourselves to create massive healing on a global level.
Yeah. And that massive healing requires everyone, and it includes everyone. So it's not just us in the wellness world. It's not the people that are attracted to us in the wellness. It's everyone. It's people that, like Britt said, that don't have food and shelter that have never been seen, who are the homeless people, who are drug addicts. It's everyone. We all elevate together, and it requires all of us to really be open and open our heart chakras and be really compassionate and live in that place of oneness. That's what this whole Aquarian age is about, and that's what this whole movement is about. It's really about all coming together, and that means everyone, every single person. Even, people that have hurt you and people that, you also really love. It's everyone. So, but we have to get all over our own stuff to be able to do it. And so that's where we start first.
100%. Well, I am like, so with you, it's my belief as well. It always starts from within and then it emanates from there. I love what you guys are talking about. Also this, to me, it gets away from the duality of this or that, or us and them. And it's like, no. You were saying earlier about, we all are part of this one earth. We're this idea of oneness, which I feel like that is the next step, is to have more of that. And well, I know one of the things you'll be doing is an Icelandic cruise. I don't know when. I'm like, I gotta be on it. I don't know what I'm gonna do there. That sounds really fun. I want to do you guys, seriously, everyone listening, you gotta like tune in and see what you guys are up to and look at your posts and your courses. I mean, that class was I did a kundalini yoga class with Tara and Britt, and I felt, even in that, I think it was an hour, maybe not even quite, my energy was just, I remember feeling like I was buzzing. I did not see my guides or anything like that there. However, I did have an experience like probably half a day later. So maybe I'd like to think it opened that up. No question.
Oh, definitely. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So amazing. Oh my gosh. Something you'd mentioned earlier, Britt, I feel like people listening who, you guys had touched upon manifesting. I think there's a lot of people that really want to be manifesting in their life and understand how to do that. What is your, what's your way of what's worked for you? How do you, maybe some takeaways like around manifesting, the universal law of attraction? I love this conversation, and I think the more nuggets we can get out there for people to understand that this is a universal law we all have access to and the right to. So I'm sure there are others aside from me. It's one of my favorite subjects for those listening. Like, how do you do that? How do you manifest a cruise to Iceland, or, creating a business that you love, or elevating the globe? How do you do that?
Yeah. So yeah, we love manifesting so much, and there are steps that we use. We actually have a blog post if somebody's interested in diving into it deeper as far as our process. But yeah, I mean, some key things that really help are to just, it really is all about the energy, like we've been talking about. So just having those daily intentions and that daily practice to have your energy high. Mm-hmm. And then, getting really clear about what you want is key. Where I see a lot of people kind of trip up sometimes is in the attracting part. So, a lot of times we ask and we get clear and we're feeling good. And then from that point, it becomes where you need to release and surrender and allow the universe to also be in co-creation with you. And sometimes that looks differently than you may have wanted it to, or it feels differently, or maybe the timing is different, or whatever it may be. And then I think it can be difficult without a lot of trust to continue with that high vibration, continue on the path to attract in what you desire. So, it's really important to just have the affirmations or anything. The mantra is big for me. Anything that can really keep your mind out of it, because it's really not about that at that point. When you're in that step of the process, it's not about your mind. It's about your heart. It's about your energy. It's about what you're feeling, and that's what emanates out of you, and that's what attracts things to you. So it's about having that trust. It's about working with the universe and trusting, just like you trust like a partner that you have. It's like you are working together towards a common goal, but you don't have to keep asking or questioning it or doubting it or, going into all of that, because that actually takes you 5 steps back.
Yeah.
But, instead of continuing on the train forward to, whenever it was that what's manifesting is supposed to manifest. So yeah, it comes with a lot of trust for me. And a lot of times I forget about what I'm manifesting because that's really just natural to me. I just am that personality. Like if somebody makes me mad or something, I'll forget about it. So I kind of naturally have that. And I think that's a key part of it. Like you have to let it go. You have to forget about it. You have to surrender. And then you have to let it come to you versus trying to forcefully go after it. It's all about that alignment to magnetize.
Yeah, and I don't feel like everyone out there is like that has that natural ability to just kind of forget about stuff and let things go. That's my personality, is a little bit more in my mind and kind of like checking in on it.
Yeah.
And so, for me, what I really feel like is, and I love we tell this analogy sometimes that, if I order something on Amazon, it said it's coming on Thursday, it's Tuesday. I'm not going to check it 40 times because I know it's coming. I just trust that it's going to show up. And you go out throughout your day and you have fun. It's about the journey is the whole part of it. And so if you're constantly excited about what you're creating every day and that you're excited to show up for everything 100% excited and willing to do whatever you need to do, be sort of used by the universe, like use me for my highest happiness. It's like that everything that you're manifesting, it's going to come to you. You don't have to worry about it. You just have fun along the way. It's like it's coming. I don't know when it's coming, but it'll come when I'm ready for it, when when it's supposed to show up. And so creating a life that you really love to be in, is hard for some people to understand, but it takes with just one step of like, this is what I want, and I'm going to show up 100% for whatever it is. It's going to take me there, and I'm going to have fun doing it and know that I'll get there.
Yeah.
And then it's never an end goal, because that end goal, you'll get there and be like, well, now I have a new end goal.
You're right. Now there's something else. That was really well said. I think the piece that I know I constantly practice is, as my dear friend says, full-time faith, having that trust. Sometimes I forget about things, which is so helpful. Like you were saying, it's so helpful. Like I'm thankful that happens a lot, which is great. And sometimes when it's something I really want, and I'm thinking those listening, you want something really, really badly. What I have found, what you were just saying, Tara, is I do everything I can to remember that I placed the order and it's coming and it's not up to me. And so let me go have fun somewhere else or focus on something else to do. And I know for me, honestly, sometimes I haven't had to think about it, it's come automatically, but for sometimes I've had to really train myself. Like literally, today, for example, I this morning, thinking of you guys, I knew we were doing this, and it's funny, there was a project I was thinking about, and I just said, you know what, I have too much energy around it. And so I went to a flow class. I wish it was kundalini. It wasn't, but it was a great class. And I did that. And then I made myself a smooth, I just shifted the whole day. I took a small nap and I was like, I'm just going to meditate. I did stuff that had me not thinking about it. And what's funny is I got an email today saying this other project that I had been waiting on had been approved. So that was kind of cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, right. It's like, if you can't forget, you got to almost make yourself forget.
Right? Yeah. Do whatever you have to do to shift your energy.
Yes, exactly.
Well, yeah. And I think the other thing is a lot of times, our subconscious mind is attracting. So that is why, in addition to everything we're talking about here, the meditation is so important, because we have to be having a daily mental shower, and we have to, clear out our subconscious. So if you've never cleared out your subconscious mind, and if all the past traumas, all the memories, all the thought patterns, all the past programming is still living there in a big way, then that's, going to be driving the show. So a lot of times people are like, I'm doing everything and what I want might not be showing up as fast as I want it. And it's like, then at that point, it's how can I clear the subconscious more to release that out so it can actually be working with my conscious mind in a bigger way. And yeah, the other thing I'll add is that our subconscious mind works in visual, in images and pictures. So some people like make fun of vision boards and things like that, but any way that you can visualize and see an image and use that to manifest has been really, really powerful for me.
Yeah, like the subconscious always wins. So it doesn't matter what you're consciously doing. If you have a subconscious belief that contradicts that conscious belief, your subconscious belief will always win because it's subconscious. It's not there. It's not in your forefront. It's back in there creating for you automatically. So that is why what Britt is saying is so important. It's like you got to clear it out or it's just going to produce more of what you don't want or just old patterns of what life is already like for you now. Yeah. And I think also it's really just showing up and can you imagine if you just like the trust was so not there, absolutely so not there that you just kept like, there's this whole journey that's going to take you to your manifestations, yet you just kind of are focused so sorely on one that it's not coming. And where is it? It's not coming. It's like you literally have missed the whole journey to getting there and you're never going to get there. That's just what I wanted to add because it's like when you focus so much on it. It's like, well, okay, but there's a whole journey. Maybe you need to become a different kind of person before that happens. And now you're just wasting your time. You're not moving and getting there because you're like, why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? Well, maybe you needed to grow a lot. Maybe you needed to learn how to bowl because, you're going to meet your husband at a bowling league. Right? It's like, that's a silly example, but it's also very true. Like, these hits to bowl, but like, where's the husband? That's all I can think about. It's like, well, maybe you should learn how to bowl.
I love this conversation. The last piece I would add, which I think goes back to what you were saying earlier on about teaching about intuition and energy, is what I have found too is when you're in that, like what we're talking about, in that space of high vibrational living and being, then it goes along with the manifestation when, like what you guys were saying, you let go of it, you have trust, as you said, you focus on the rest of your journey, you kind of let the Amazon order go because it's coming, you have joy and fun, try to find ways to enjoy really authentically. And what I found is then oftentimes I get these little funny, when I'm really paying attention, these kind of like you were saying, Britt, you were listening, you didn't hear the messages until Tara got the whole download. But like we get these messages, and what I found is that those often lead to exactly, if not what I wanted, maybe even better, often better. And so to be awake and conscious, you have to be to hear those. And those are the things to me, I'm constantly looking for ways to connect with other realms and my higher guides, higher self. I mean, always. And I have a lot of fun doing it. Frankly, I find a lot of signs on the road. It's one of my favorite places to just hear guides and to get ideas. I'm seriously, I see 528 a lot, actually. The love, I love it. I'm always like, love on the road. Yeah, love on the road. But I love what we're talking about. And you guys, I know, have a lot of, between your podcast, between your blog posts, between your Instagram and Facebook and all the different things that you do, and eventually your cruises and your retreats and your book. I mean, there's just so many ways that you're teaching this, and it's such a gift that you're giving to others and to the globe. And I just honor you both. I think you both are just beautiful light bringer souls. I'm really honored to have had you here today and just to have you in my life, really.
Thank you. Yeah, this has been so fun.
I know. No, we were so attracted to you when we first met you too, just like you mentioned. And yeah, it is so incredible because this is part of it. You really start to attract like-minded, like-hearted people and are able to connect. And yeah, it's such a fun journey. It really is.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
So before we wrap, quickly, if you have any quotes, words of wisdom that guide you guys. I love words. I have them all over my house. They're painted literally. I have like 15 quotes on my front door. I love leaving people with words of wisdom, although I think there's been so many words in this interview and conversation. But is there something that really drives you guys every day?
Yeah, for me, it's this affirmation I say to myself a lot.
Okay.
Like I always end with, it's a little bit of a different version every time, but it's always, I will show up 100%, like universe, angels, guides, please show me where I need to be today, who I need to talk to, what I need to say. I will show up 100% for whatever it is that you put on my path today, like use me.
Beautiful.
And then I feel like I can be of service because of that in the way that I need, where I need to be. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to think of a quote. I love quotes too so much, and I feel like new ones come to me all the time. But yeah, just recently, the Rumi quote about like you are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. Really just like been present and in my mind lately, and it really connects to everything we've been saying and just how interconnected we all are. And so when we really think about that, it makes us realize how much, everything that we're seeing, everything in this universe is all inside of us. And we have everything that we need. So yeah, it just brings me so much peace and confidence and trust to just know that nothing is outside of you. We all are completely whole, and we have everything we need to be who we want to be and do what we need to do and serve who we need to serve in what ways that we need to. So yeah.
That was powerful. Beautiful, wonderful way to end. And I'll leave everyone listening. That is take a breath and take that in, everyone. That's beautiful. You guys, thank you. Britt, Tara, you guys are just such beautiful souls, and I'm honored. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Yeah. And we're so excited to have you on our podcast. So for everybody listening, look out for that in the new year as well. We can't wait to.
Yay. I can't wait. Yay.